Alaska is known as the last frontier because it's covered in dense forests and has rugged coastlines. It's a place where the sun stays up for a long time during certain parts of the year. Alaska has a lot of strange stories and legends. People have seen strange things in the sky there, like lights and objects that they can't explain. This might be because Alaska has lots of wilderness, extreme weather, and not many people living there. So, when people see weird things in the sky, it adds to the mystery of the state. Alaska has its own version of the Bermuda Triangle called the Alaska Triangle. It's a large area in the southeastern part of the state, stretching to the northern mountains and the western city of Anchorage. People talk about it because strange things happen there, like people and planes disappearing without a trace. Even experienced outdoorsmen and pilots have vanished while traveling through the area. Some planes have disappeared while flying, and ships have gone missing in the waters nearby. Nobody knows why these things happen, so there are lots of different ideas, like maybe it's because of natural events or aliens. One famous case is when a military plane called the Douglas C-54 disappeared in 1950 and was never found. On January 26, 1950, the missing Douglas plane departed from Elmendorf Air Base in the Alaska Triangle with 44 people on board, including passengers and crew. The plane, a C-54, was vital for the Air Force back then. It was supposed to fly eastward to a specific point, but 2 hours into the flight, it disappeared without a trace. There were no distress calls or signs of trouble. Initially, there were concerns that the Soviet Union might have been involved, but the plane was heading away from that area. A massive search effort involving 7,000 troops and 85 aircraft was launched, covering an area of 300,000 square miles, but nothing was found. After the disappearance of the missing Douglas, 4 more planes crashed in the Alaska Triangle under mysterious circumstances. One of them was a B-36 nuclear bomber, which disappeared with an atomic bomb on board. Despite extensive searches, the bomb was never recovered, making it the first lost nuclear weapon in history. The cause of these incidents remains a mystery. Some theories suggest magnetic interference, electromagnetic forces, or gravitational anomalies, while others speculate about superior technology overpowering the planes. However, no conclusive explanation has been found. In October 1972, a plane carrying the leader of the House of Representatives vanished on the southern edge of the Alaska Triangle. This government disappearance sparked the largest search and rescue mission in U.S. history, involving 40 military aircraft and over 39 days of searching. Despite extensive efforts, no wreckage or survivors were found. No debris, no gear, nothing. Since the 1970s, an astonishing number of people, estimated at 20,000, have disappeared in this vast region. Considering its sparse population, this is a shockingly high rate, averaging 250 disappearances per year, twice the national average. Many of these incidents seem to occur within the triangle's rugged terrain. What exactly happened remains a mystery. Was there a portal or a wormhole? Is paranormal activity at play in the Alaska Triangle? Some speculate about UFO involvement, particularly regarding the missing Douglas aircraft, which remains unsolved even after 70 years. No evidence of crashes has ever been discovered, adding to the intrigue and fueling conspiracy theories. Some believe aliens might be behind these mysterious disappearances. Alaska, despite its nickname as the last frontier, is not immune to UFO cases. One of the most well-documented UFO incidents occurred above Alaska on November 17th, marking its 38th anniversary this year. 3 UFOs engaged in a 50-minute game of tag with Japan Airlines cargo flight 1628, witnessed by the flight crew and tracked on military and civilian radar. John Callahan, a former FAA administrator, broke his silence about the incident, believing the public deserved to know the truth. On November 7, 1986, a Japanese 747 cargo jet was flying from Iceland to Anchorage when the pilot, co-pilot, and flight engineer spotted a massive round object in the sky. Captain Kenju Terauchi, an experienced pilot, also observed 2 smaller objects along with the larger one, which he described as being as large as an aircraft carrier. The object flew alongside the jet, prompting the crew to take evasive action as it approached dangerously close, despite following FAA directives. Captain Terauchi maneuvered the jet to avoid the objects, but they persisted in following, even appearing directly in front of the cockpit. Over the next 30 minutes, the UFOs seemed to move rapidly, appearing both ahead and behind the jet in radar sweeps. Captain Terauchi marveled at the apparent technology of the UFOs, suggesting they had control over both inertia and gravity. The largest object was detected on radar by multiple sources, including the FAA, Air Force, and the jet's cockpit display. These objects trailed the jet for a distance of 400 miles, as confirmed by FAA flight control reports, with one even coming as close as 5 miles to the aircraft at one point. In the days and weeks following the encounter, FAA officials interviewed the entire crew individually. Each crew member provided detailed descriptions and drawings of the unidentified objects and their unusual behavior. Despite their extensive combined experience of over 46 years, FAA investigators found the crew to be normal, professional, and rational, with no involvement of drugs or alcohol. John Callahan, who was part of the investigation, briefed scientists, President Ray, and CIA officials at FAA headquarters. Callahan believed strongly that Captain Troy's sighting of 3 UFOs was significant, as it was the only recorded instance of a UFO on radar for such a prolonged period. The CIA later confiscated all original voice recordings and radar tapes related to the UFO incident, unaware that Callahan had copies stored at his office. Despite efforts to suppress the information, reports of UFO sightings persisted. In January 1987, just over 2 months after Captain Terauchi's encounter, the crew of Alaska Airlines Flight 53 reported a fast-moving object on their onboard weather radar. The object, flying at 35,000 feet and estimated to be traveling at 18,000 miles per hour, was spotted approximately 60 miles west of McGrath during a flight from Nome to Anchorage. UFO expert Debbie has suggested that the remote and sparsely populated nature of Alaska could make it an attractive destination for aliens. Paranormal investigator Johnny Enoch has speculated about possible secret military involvement, a bold idea that cannot be dismissed outright. Moreover, there are suspicions not only towards the CIA and FAA, but also NASA regarding their alleged deception about UFOs. Some believe NASA is part of a larger effort to keep the truth hidden from the public. Military analyst Carl Wolf has even claimed that NASA and other agencies are covering up evidence of structures on the moon. Adding to the intrigue is the testimony of Gary McKinnon, an IT professional who became concerned about the lack of transparency within NASA. He believed that if groundbreaking energy technologies were being withheld, it was a disservice to humanity. McKinnon, often labeled a hacker, gained unauthorized access to NASA servers, facing serious legal consequences as a result. However, he argues that those who are concealing such information are also culpable for their wrongdoing. During his unauthorized access, McKinnon claims to have discovered photos of a cylindrical-shaped object with domes, devoid of typical manufacturing evidence. He also stumbled upon a list of non-terrestrial officers and the names of various spacecraft designated as USSSS, United States Spaceship. This revelation raises questions about the existence of a covert space program, possibly named Solar Warden, operated by the government. While McKinnon's actions were unlawful, he argues that those who are hiding this information are equally guilty of wrongdoing. There are many stories about people getting taken by the military, which isn't fair and breaks some of the rules. NASA is hiding some information that might prove that aliens are real, or that there's a secret space program. This isn't good for everyone. Fortunately, a guy named Gary McKinnon didn't get sent to another country to be punished, but it still ruined his life. He found some secret stuff on NASA's computers, but nothing happened to the people who were keeping secrets. Basically, some strange things are happening on the moon, like weird noises and lights that suddenly disappear. Some people think there might be buildings up there. A historian named Richard Dolan looked into this and found some evidence to support it. Is it possible that there's a secret space program with buildings on the moon like Gary McKinnon said? Well, not all the scientists at NASA might know about it, but some important people probably do. The fact that UFOs are still a mystery in the US is worrying. What if we find out we've been lied to about them? Don't get too excited though, but there's still a lot of interest in UFOs, especially after a guy named David Grosh said the US has been collecting spacecraft for a long time. This led to some important people talking about it in Congress, and now they want to share more information about UFOs. While it's fascinating to think about aliens and UFOs, there are some serious issues to consider beyond just whether aliens exist. Scientists are studying what it would mean for us psychologically if we found out aliens are real, especially if the government has been keeping secrets from us. Trust is a big problem when it comes to governments. People are suspicious because they feel like they're not being told the truth about UFOs. This makes them lose trust in the government. The UAP Disclosure Act was supposed to create a national archive run by regular citizens. These citizens would decide when and how to share information about UFOs, without any influence from the military or politicians. The act also said the government could take any alien technology or evidence from private citizens or companies and share it with the public. It also wanted the government to ask other countries for any UFO information they might have. In short, the UAP Disclosure Act was supposed to reveal the truth about UFOs, but most of its important parts were removed. Now, only the archive remains, but it won't be run by an independent group. Senator Schumer said the archive is a win for government transparency, but he also admitted it was a shame that the review board wasn't included. This means that the government will still control what information gets released, even though they've been hiding it for years. Whistleblower David Grouch called these changes the biggest failure in American history. This lack of transparency is making people even more suspicious of the government. Psychologist Daniel Stubbings says that if there's nothing to hide about UFOs, then the government should be open about everything. But since they're not being transparent, it's making people think they're hiding something. Throughout history, many people have said they've seen strange things in the sky. Some might think these sightings are just imagination, but when there are photos and videos from reliable sources, it's harder to ignore. In 2021, the U.S. government released a report about 144 sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. These were looked into by the Department of Defense's UAP Task Force, mainly from military personnel. They even showed 3 videos of these UAPs. This convinced psychologist Daniel Stubbings to take the sightings seriously. He talked to people who said they saw these things to understand how they felt. Stubbings found that all kinds of people reported seeing these things, leaving them with questions. At first, he thought there might be simple explanations, but after studying real cases, he wasn't so sure. He realized this topic was important and could change things for society. Usually, astronomers look for signs of life beyond Earth. Projects like SETI use telescopes to look for signals from possible alien civilizations. SETI used to be seen as unusual, but now it's seen as normal. Breakthrough. Listen is a big project, searching for signs of alien life. They've been scanning nearby stars and galaxies since 2016. At the University of California, Berkeley, a project announced its new headquarters in Oxford last October. Steve Croft, an astronomer at UC Berkeley and the SETI Institute, who is also a senior researcher at the new headquarters, sees this as a big endorsement from one of the world's top astrophysics groups and physics departments. In early December, Croft and his team published findings from the project, analyzing over 140 terabytes of data from 977 nearby galaxies. Despite not finding anything artificial in this study, Croft sees it as a positive beginning. Other astronomers using different methods have observed things that require further investigation. Beatrice, an assistant professor of physics at Stockholm University, leads a team studying old photographic plates of the night sky, predating the launch of the first artificial satellite in 1957. These plates capture bright glints caused by sunlight reflecting off satellites as they orbit the Earth. However, some plates from April 1950 and July 1952 showed multiple sources of light appearing and disappearing within a short period, without any astronomical explanation. Even modern observations using advanced telescopes revealed no clues about these mysterious lights. At the University of California, Berkeley, Beatrice is leading a project to search for anomalous objects among human satellites in orbit. This project, called the ExoProbe, aims to explore nearby space for unusual phenomena, which is a new approach compared to traditional astronomical studies focused on distant objects. If undeniable evidence of non-human intelligences visiting Earth is discovered, it could have profound implications for individuals and society. John Priestland, a physicist, established the charity Unhidden to reduce the stigma associated with discussing UFOs and the possibility of a government cover-up. He believes it's essential to support those who have witnessed strange phenomena and to prepare for potential disclosure. Despite the importance of discussing UFOs openly, there is still a stigma surrounding the topic. Priestland emphasizes the need for support and understanding for those who have experienced unexplained events, especially considering the possibility of a major shift in societal perspectives. In positive news, NASA recently announced plans to study UFOs using advanced satellites and a scientific approach. The space agency aims to shift the conversation about UFOs from sensationalism to science, promoting transparency and open dialogue. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our future content. We value your feedback, so feel free to share your thoughts with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.